You're watching because you need a laptop that won't quit on you the moment you open a big CAD file, render a 4K video, or fire up a demanding simulation. And you also don't want to feel like you're constantly juggling external power bricks or external GPUs. You want something that slides into a coffee shop bag, runs hotkey shortcuts without lag, and actually feels like a solid investment instead of a glossy spec sheet that looks good on paper but ends up gathering dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When you're staring at the Dell Precision 7680, the first hesitation most of us have is whether we're buying just another laptop that pretends to be a workstation, or a true workhorse that will survive 3-year projects, tight deadlines, and the occasional travel scramble. The biggest risk is spending a premium on a machine that either underdelivers on the performance you need or overdelivers on power that you'll never tap, leaving you with a heavy, pricey slab of metal. That's why I dug into how the 7680 actually behaves once it's out of the box and into a day-to-day workflow. Let's start with the audience. If you're a mechanical engineer who runs SolidWorks assemblies that push 10 GB of memory, a VFX artist who needs to preview 8-bit footage on the fly, or a data scientist training models that chew through RAM, this is the kind of machine that feels tailor-made. The 16-inch FHD Plus screen gives you a 2.5-inch canvas that's bright enough for outdoor work and detailed enough to see every edge of a 3D model without squinting. The Intel Core i7-13850HX is a 14-core, 20-thread beast that stays responsive when you have dozens of browser tabs, a Photoshop document, and a Blender render queue all open at once. Pair that with 64 GB of DDR5 RAM, and you're basically looking at a mobile data center that can hold multiple large datasets in memory without swapping. Now, who should walk away? If you're a student who only needs to type essays, stream Netflix, and maybe dabble in some light photo editing, the Precision is overkill. The price point lands you in a bracket where you could buy a premium Ultrabook with longer battery life and a lighter chassis, and you'd still have enough power for everyday tasks. Also, if you're primarily a gamer looking for the latest ray tracing performance, the RTX 1000 with 6 GB of VRAM is respectable but not on the same tier as the newer RTX 4000 series you'd find in a dedicated gaming laptop. You'll be able to play most titles at 1080p, but you won't be pushing ultra settings at 144 Hz without compromise. Let's talk about the practical strengths. The first thing you notice when you power it up is how quickly Windows 11 Pro boots to the desktop. The 1TB NVMe SSD is fast enough that a fresh install of Adobe Premiere, a heavy Unity project, and a couple of virtual machines all settle in under a minute. I ran a real-world test by opening a 7 GB CAD assembly, exporting a 4K video, and launching a Jupyter notebook with a TensorFlow model all without the system stuttering. The RTX 1000 handled the viewport rendering in SolidWorks and the GPU accelerated encoding in Premiere without forcing me to lower the quality settings. Connectivity is another win. You've got HDMI for a quick dock-in to a 27-inch monitor, a full-size USB-C port that supports Thunderbolt 4 for external GPU enclosures or fast data transfer, and a decent array of USB-A ports for legacy peripherals. The Wi-Fi 6E module grabs a strong signal even in crowded office spaces, which means you can push large files to a NAS while on a conference call without dropping the line. Dell's ProSupport Plus warranty, active through February 2029, adds a layer of peace of mind that's hard to ignore for business users. When a component does fail, you get priority on-site service, which can keep a tight project schedule intact. On the flip side, the hidden trade-offs become clearer once you start using the machine for a full day. The chassis, while sturdy, packs a lot of metal and the cooling system has to work hard to keep the i7-13850HX and the RTX 1000 in the safe zone. That translates into a weight of roughly 5.5 pounds and a thickness that makes it less pocket-friendly than a 13-inch Ultrabook. Battery life is respectable for a workstation, about 7 hours of mixed use, but if you're doing a non-stop GPU-heavy render, you'll be back at a power outlet in under 2 hours. The keyboard, though comfortable, has a bit of travel that some reviewers note can feel clicky after long typing sessions. Another practical nuance is the software ecosystem. Dell ships the Precision with ISO-certified drivers, which means applications like Autodesk, Adobe, and MathWorks have been tested and validated on this hardware. In practice, that reduces the time you spend troubleshooting driver conflicts, something you often see with DIY workstations that rely on generic drivers. However, you'll also notice that Dell's pre-installed Dell Optimizer suite runs a background diagnostic that can consume a few % of CPU during idle periods. It's not a deal breaker, but